Do you feel that, as we look at what's going on over there, do you feel that North Korea is working with China as it comes to Taiwan? Is there, obviously there's lots of challenges when we deal with those types of countries, but do you feel like they're actively aiding China? What would your thoughts be in that?
Thank you, if I may. It's an excellent question. I would say, though, North Korea and Chinese cooperation is not centered on the issue of Taiwan. I think their cooperation is more related to maybe a nuclear program, fuel transfers, or to support the DPRK economy. And I think North Korea really, at the moment, is actually maybe early days, but focusing a lot of its relationship and its attention on working more closely with Russia. And that's what we're seeing in terms of deployment of North Korean personnel into Russia to fight in the war in Ukraine. And in exchange for that is maybe a technology transfer from Russia, but also other supplies. So just to answer your question, I'm not seeing the China, North Korea, Taiwan nexus.
Okay.
Our chair opened the meeting saying there's a lot going on, I think, is one of the statements that he made. And I'm fascinated by the, not new relationship, but the stronger relationship that's formed between North Korea and Russia, and certainly with their participation in the war. What does the future hold in that regard in terms of, that seemed to be a silent partnership in the past, something we didn't read or hear about until they inserted their foot in the door of the war effort. And so if this war is coming to a conclusion, that relationship will still exist. And I'm wondering, no one has a crystal ball, but I'm wondering what your assessment is in terms of what that relationship looks like post-Ukraine war.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe I'll open with my characterization of the military interactions and then provide the opportunity to colleagues to answer your question. So we've seen 12,000 North Korean troops deployed into Russia. Importantly, also equipment. So 50 howitzers and 20 multiple launch rocket systems, which are pretty sophisticated capability. And they've gone, as this group knows, to the Kursk Oblast. Russia, in turn, has also used 60 ballistic missiles from the DPRK against Ukraine. And to what my colleague earlier said, we think that there's an exchange where Russia is providing to the DPRK fuel, money, and most importantly, technology that does have the propensity to destabilize the peninsula.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank our witnesses and thank General Smith and General Ritchie for your service to Canada, and Mr. Laporte for always bringing your expertise. You mentioned that there's probably a technology transfer happening between Russia and North Korea. What technology transfer do we think that is beyond enriched uranium?
Mr. Chair, I'll start. Maybe some of my colleagues want to help. I don't know anything about enriched uranium transfers from Russia to the DPRK. North Korea, have had a nuclear program for decades, so they've had some. But we're looking at like maybe delivery systems, missiles, and other capabilities like that. Russia is ahead of the DPRK, and they may be transferring those type of technologies.
What about submarines?
Mr. Chair, what I am tracking is missiles, perhaps air defense interceptors, fuel, money. I am personally not aware of submarines.
Okay.
There may be some discussion around fighter aircraft, but we have nothing conclusive. Okay.
Now, North Korea already committed 12,000 troops plus munitions and rocket launch systems to Russia for the war in Ukraine. There's rumors that those numbers of 12,000 may be increased. Any intel to suggest that it is going up beyond the 12,000 troops?
Mr. Chair, I have no conclusive information on that. We continue to actively watch that in partnership with allies. It's difficult to see when North Korean troops may enter the east side of Ukraine. It's much easier as they're moving towards the front to discern how they're getting equipped with clothing, weapons, equipment, and then moving and integrating. But at this point, only 12,000.
Okay.